Hi, Claus Levin here. We're just launching a course today, a 12-week course. It's different, it's unique, and it's totally amazing. So go check that out by clicking the link just below the video here. And it basically focuses on something very fundamental. It focuses on why it's so hard to be a human. Because let's solve that and then go be successful being a human, right? So what's the basic conflict within us? Well, basically what we've been talking about in the previous videos is that we have a three-part brain. And it's the middle layer and the top layer that's often in conflict. We got the mammal brain sitting in the middle there, and we got the frontal lobes on top, which is uniquely human. The mammal brain really likes immediate pleasure. Why? Because when you're not running from a tiger or going hunting for an animal because you're hungry or afraid, when everything is just status quo, there's no danger, no urges, then you need to relax so you can go run and hunt again, right? And you also need sweets. That's fruit, right, in nature. That's how you're built to live in nature. So everything that's sweet is fast energy. So it's drawn towards that, right? Anything that's fatty tastes really good, that boom taste, right? There's a reason why it tastes like that. It's because it's a good trade-off. You can eat so little and get this much energy. And if you get fat, you can just survive the winter. That's all the mammal brain. But notice that all of these things are pleasurable. And it's physical. It's pleasure. You know how it's now pleasure, right? Give me more. And it's physical. Relaxing, eating. It's all about the body. Okay, so what about the frontal lobes? What's the conflict here? Yeah, in the frontal lobes, that's where we want to live. Because that's where we can have success in this world. That's where we can have wealth on all levels of life. You know, that's where we can be leaders of our own life. And we don't have to succumb to the urges of the mammal brain. If we do that, we'll just get sluggish and not do anything, right? It's just maintenance in the mammal brain. But the frontal lobes are able to grow. The frontal lobes are the mere reason why we live in this amazing reality with all the technology and all the commodities, all the comfort we have. But if the mammal brain is allowed to govern your life in this reality, it destroys you. Because there's so much comfort, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to move. You suddenly don't have to run from any tiger. And you don't have to go hunt. You can sit still moving a mouse all day, right? It kills you. And makes you even more sluggish and just, it's not a life. It's like going to the zoo and seeing an elephant in a too small space just getting fed every day, or a lion, just a lazy animal just going back and forth like this. Right? That's how it is to live in the mammal brain. So no wonder you want something else. That's why you're watching this video. But the pleasure that we seek in the frontal lobes are emotional. It's not physical. When the frontal lobes are allowed to govern, to rule your life, then suddenly you want to be excited. You want love. You want passion. You want all these things that are not physical as such. In fact, they are, because it's hormones squirting through your body, but it's emotional rather than directly physical. And that's the conflict. Because you could say that, well, don't I want the immediate pleasure of eating something that tastes really good? And the emotional pleasure, yes, you do. But just imagine that you only went for the emotional pleasure and never went for anything that tastes good or never relaxed. You don't want that as well. You do have to rest in order for you to be able to go achieve some more, right? But please get this. It's exactly like a game. Again, I love this analogy because it's not an analogy. It's a direct thing. A game is like life, and life is like a game. It's the one and the same thing. A game is just a micro life. We can look at it and understand life from a very simple perspective. And so you have to play the game, right? Frontal lobes, passion, excitement. I want to win. I want to score. Bam! We love that. If we talk about happiness ever, it's not holding the trophy above your head. That's not attainable always, every day, every week. You can only do that once in a while when you win big, right? You win the tournament or you win the match, yay, and then that's over, right? It's a whew, and it's like fireworks, right? But the pleasure of being passionately engaged and excited in a game, that's amazing. And you can do that every day. If you set up your game, you know the tournament, let's say you want to make $1 million, right? That's winning the tournament. And How do you score then? Or how do you win a match? Well, those are your sub goals. How do you score? Those are your daily little things you need to achieve in order to get the sub goals, in order to get the main goal, right? It's like being in a game if you set it up right. And if you set that game up right, then you will feel the passion, the excitement, all of the things. It doesn't have to be about money, it can be other results as well, of course. That's what we need to do. But then we need to get out of the game as well. Just imagine being in a constant, never-ending football game. At one point, you would just go, I can't do anything. Or you would be like these guys who just get legs that cramp up because they've been playing overtime, right? So they just collapse on the playing field because it's just impossible to keep going. Then you want to step outside the playing field. What do you do when you do that? You party a little. You relax a little. You learn a little. You watch strategy videos and the coach and you relax, all of that. All the mammal brain stuff, right? But we have a tendency to believe that we can live in the mammal brain. We go to Paris. Oh, Paris is amazing. I wish I could live here. Well, if you lived there, it would just be a city. I went to New York some time ago, and I was young, and I was in this store, and I talked to the manager of the store, said, how do you feel about living in New York? Yes, it's just a city. He says, I just go to work like everywhere else, right? So anything you do all the time becomes valueless. So if you live in Paris, it's a totally different experience than if you visit Paris. If you go to Spain, it's amazing. If you live there, not so much. If you eat wonderful food, amazing food, and sweets and cake and all kinds of crap all the time, then at some point you go, ugh, right? But if you go back and forth, you can have that amazing experience once in a while, and it will be 10 times as great. I remember fasting for a week, not eating anything for 7 days straight. Talk about torture. And I was in Thailand. Thailand is I love their food, right? So after the 7 days, I was biting into a freaking cucumber. That's a pretty, I don't think of a cucumber as something, that's amazing, right? But I was biting into it, and it was like, just almost a spiritual experience, right? Because I had no food for 7 days. That's the secret. What's that a secret? Because you don't want things all the time. You want to go into the game, you want to go out of the game, and you want to find the balance, right? So you want to be in that mammal brain. It's not bad. You just want to balance it so it's amazing, right? All the emotional pleasure of the game and all the physical pleasure of being outside the game, taking a break, back and forth. Most people think when they're into success that they can be in game all the time, right? Bam! But we can't. We collapse, and then we see that as failure. We need to know what is going on. When you know what's going on, how this setup is made, then you can play it. Then you can get your game on and you can get outside the game. Then you can start really moving towards what you want in your life. Sorry to be so intense about it, but this is pretty important, right? It's about being happy. And happiness, I don't like that term so much. I like the term passionate, excited better, because happy is almost, like we think just because we are on a holiday or we win something, or right, that we think we can be happy all the time, like holding the trophy above your head. You can't. It's impossible. What you can be is engaged, is excited, all those cool emotions, and you can have the other thing as well, the physical pleasure of the leisure and the food, and that will be so much better because you're not doing it all the time. Go check out the course. I would love to see you in it for 12 weeks of just going deeply into this. So see you then.